Clouds. They give color to our sunsets, and they add magic to a rainbow. In the right light, they can even be inspirational. Clouds can bring rain when it's most needed to break a stubborn drought. But you know what clouds aren't good for? Eclipses. They are positively terrible for eclipses. Thus, I spent way too many hours studying every weather and cloud forecast I could find. We had waited 7 long years to again experience the wonder of totality, and the atmosphere seemed fully bent on trying to ruin it for everyone. What was clear? At best, the sky in our home state of Texas was going to be iffy, and that just wasn't going to do it for us. It was time to hit the road. For several days leading up to our departure, the closest place with a high probability of clear skies was southern Missouri. One of the things we learned from the 2017 Eclipse Chase was to be self-sufficient and flexible. Plans could change at a moment's notice, and there's not much chance of finding available or affordable lodging when you get there. So for the first time in our married life, we got fully geared up to go camping. Finding places to camp isn't always easy either. State parks and established campgrounds tend to book up weeks or months in advance, even without an eclipse. Thus, we have become big fans of Hip Camp. It's like Airbnb for people who want to rent out their property to campers, and it's been a great resource for us. We located a beautiful camping spot just south of Doniphan, Missouri, which was near the center line of the Path of Totality. It was a small place with just 4 campsites and close to the lovely Current River. I'm pretty sure my dear wife never dreamed she'd be spending a few nights sleeping in the cargo area of a Subaru Outback, but this rig was ready to take us anywhere we had to go to chase clear skies. We had a free day before the eclipse, so it was time for a little sightseeing. The Ozark Mountains and the Mark Twain National Forest were just to our northwest, so we were off to take a look and have a little fun with the 360 camera. The main attraction on the southern end of the forest is Big Spring, and it really lives up to its name. It's one of the top 3 largest natural springs in the U.S. and has an average daily flow of 286 million gallons of water. That's enough to fill 12,000 average-sized swimming pools every single day. It was truly mind-boggling seeing an entire river simply flow forth from a mountain. Where does all that water come from? Well, the answer is 45 miles of underground passages that refill when it rains. And those passages continue to grow as Big Spring carries out 70 tons of dissolved limestone every day. If this spring ever dries up, there will be one huge cave to explore. The cool, clear water of Big Spring joins the Current River, and the minerals provide its characteristic blue-green color as we witnessed near our campsite. After our day's adventure, it was time to settle back into camp. We enjoyed a good evening campfire and watched the stars come out. Staring into the vastness of space was a quiet reminder that we were just one sleep away from a very rare celestial event. The next morning was clear and calm, just the weather we had hoped for. We enjoyed a camp stove breakfast of bacon and duck eggs. It was our first time trying duck eggs, which came courtesy of our kids who raised them. They were mostly like chicken eggs in flavor, but a bit richer and denser in texture. We were all fueled up and ready to head into town for the big event. Doniphan is a great little town of about 2,000 people, and they rolled out the welcome mat for us eclipse watchers. The town square is really a triangle, and much of the weekend's activities had been there. But now the focus was the parks and the ball fields, which provided the best open viewing areas. We couldn't have asked for a better location, and it didn't take long to make friends with our fellow Eclipse chasers. Before we knew it, it was time. The partial eclipse phase is a great time to settle into the experience. After all the planning, preparation, and travel, it's time to relax and spend an hour or so watching the sun slowly disappear. At first, it's just a small bite out of Old Sol, just enough to know that it started. The sunspots are helpful focus gauges for our field full of photographers to check cameras and lenses. The world around us slowly begins to change. As the moon begins to cover most of the sun, the light changes all around us. It looks like you have dark sunglasses on, but you don't. It's just getting dimmer. As totality approaches, I continue to capture images, but I also put the camera down to take in the rapidly changing environment. When that last few minutes of sun still show, the world around us becomes amazingly odd. The temperature of the air dips by several degrees, enough to be noticeable, and the colors of everything become muted by the lack of light. The sense of anticipation in the crowd and in ourselves intensifies the moment. I remove the filter from the end of my camera lens and take a deep breath. This is what we came here for. The last few seconds before totality presents the first big photographic opportunity, the diamond ring. The timing to get this shot is critical. Too early and you get an overexposed blob of light. Too late and you miss it altogether. So it's full on shutter firing as the last gasp of light comes. And it's perfect. Then just as suddenly, it's dark. Really dark. Totality has no comparable. There's nothing I can say to adequately describe it. There are stars in the sky in the middle of the day, and there is a band of orange light all around the horizon in a mind-bending 360-degree sunset. Birds are flying to their nests thinking evening has arrived. I shoot a few photos to capture the moment that is really not capturable. Then I put the camera down and spend the next 4 minutes being in a complete state of awe. The light of the solar corona is indescribable. A bright, silver-white arc lamp sort of light that would still be a retina-searing bright if it were not for the moon and 93 million miles of distance. This totality brings a special treat we didn't get in 2017. Bright pink spots are easily visible to the unaided eye, and the one at the 6 o'clock position on the moon is especially bright. These are not simply the Bailey's beads of light refracted through lunar hills and valleys. These are prominences, the gift of a solar maximum and a busy surface of the sun. Prominences are solar flare wannabes, plasma energy attempting to leave the solar surface, but being bent back into long arcs by strong magnetic flux lines. The result is these remarkable bright pink structures leaping forth and returning to the sun's surface. I am humbled and grateful that I am here to see and photograph something that is unseeable but for these glorious 4 minutes. We all take it in and let it burn deep into our memories, for these are fleeting moments. Then suddenly, this heavenly dance comes to an end. One partner moves away slowly, and the other announces its return with a massive blast of light. The crowd cheers, some with smiles and some with tears. No one sees this and is left unmoved. For the sake of completeness, I photographed the remaining partial eclipse, but the star of the show has left the stage. Me and hundreds of other photographers begin to pack up like dutiful roadies after a concert has ended. Much like 2017, I feel a combination of joy in a successful adventure and wanting to have the totality experience all over again. It won't happen in America for 2 more decades, but Spain, Egypt, and Australia are up next. The eclipse is calling, and I must go. As we begin to make our way home, we stop for dinner in Little Rock, Arkansas. Timing truly is everything, as we see our previously clear blue sky fill with storm clouds. The weather we chased lasted exactly as long as needed, but not much more. The meal came with one last bit of trail magic, though. The special beverage of the evening was a cranberry Eclipse, complete with an appropriately shaped lemon slice. This final image is both real and not real. It's the combination of two real photographs, the recent total solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse from a few years ago. It's a picture that brings to mind the grand beauty of two special occasions into one picture that made me say wow. The purpose of photography isn't always to let you see what I see, but sometimes to let you feel what I feel. Hopefully this image does a little of both. See you down the road.